Chairman, friends, aren't you delighted I'm not talking about medicine? Actually, I went on Wikipedia today, and as you all know, you can't go on Wikipedia today because the Yanks are fiddling with it. So I'm glad they've shut it down. But my title should really have been the Tyndale Bible, or Tyndale as some say, not the other one, because at that point it's when the Bible came out in English, didn't it? So let's make it even earlier. However, it sounded very sexy to say that 400 years of the Bible. I want you to really think, 400 years of the Bible, are we better Christians? Are we better people for it? Are we better people because it's available? That's a question I want you to think about. The same things happened in India. The Ramayana was in Sanskrit, which nobody speaks now. And thankfully a guy turned it into the Geordie equivalent called Braj Bhasha. But people actually read it and people quote it. So in some funny way, here we have lost that thread. Though it's available, it's even on the internet, but how many of you are reading it on the internet? I'm not. Then came the Industrial Revolution, didn't it? And we had lots of food, lots of raw materials, lots of people going up chimneys, lots of people working in very bad atmosphere to give us better clothing, better this, better that. Are we better for it? Yes, I think so. I think we are warmer, we are better fed, and I think our health has improved largely from that, and not just because of us very noble people called doctors. It's better water, better food, better heating, and yes, we have contributed something too. Now we're coming to an era where I was actually present, not yet quite. You know, when the cars came, when people used to run with a flag in front of the cars, because it was a very dangerous vehicle. I wasn't around then, I only heard about it. And along comes Henry Ford, wasn't it, who started making cheap cars for everybody. And I'll go through the cars that I've been through. The first car I ever sat in was my uncle's Ford Consul Corsair. And it still looks very good. I mean, his car is gone, but for me it was a wonderful car. You went into first gear, second gear, it didn't crash like the Morris Minor my dad had. It went very smoothly and very sexily, and I could feel a lunge every time you pressed the accelerator. Then I got a standard Herald from our family, a Fiat, and now I have a Mercedes sports car parked outside. But do I go any better places? I don't think so. It's still just a car. Okay, it's 0 to 60 in so many seconds. So what? I mean, okay, it's got automatic rain sensor. Who cares? It's got a radio that seeks and finds the right FM station. So what? Can't we just turn this thing a little bit? So there's a lot of gadgetry, and I love gadgets. But what is the point of it all? Does it reach us into better information, more noble behavior? Do I drive better? Am I politer to people? Most certainly not. It's a better car, and so what? Then look at the things that happened in our kitchen. You got ovens came along, fridges, washing machine, not the Wranglers, proper washing machine, dryers, and I can see this happening in India now. Except the joke is when the lady of the house wants to wash, she'll use the washing machine, but if the servant comes, he has to wash by hand. And all this kind of little discrepancies come through, you know. So I've seen that happening, and microwaves are there. But are we eating any better? Are we eating all organic? No. I think we are eating junk more and more and more, and soon it will be genetically modified food, lots of it. But there's no nourishment, there's no nutrition. It looks good, like McDonald's hamburger. And of course we are ravaging our planet, because I think it takes 7 pounds of grass to produce 1 pound of, kilos of meat. And what are we doing to the planet? And I believe the flatus of the bovine species is 20 to 25% responsible for the ozone effect. So please drive your 4x4 car, just become vegetarians. And I think you do the planet good, and that's actually serious research, you know. But nobody looks askance at somebody who eats meat, but we look very badly at a fellow who's got a huge car. Don't we? Because we're very judgmental now. Talk about computers. When I was in Delhi University as a student, I went in with a mask and I had white shoes on to see a computer, which is, I think, about 100th to 1,000th as powerful as my iPhone. But it looked big, and when they talked about bugs in the computer, they meant actually insects getting into the computer. And that's why it's called a bug. Then came the BBC, you know, you all remember the BBC. Then came Sinclair, Clive Sinclair and his funny gadgets, including his bike. And then came personal computer and personal computer and personal computer. And I was so delighted when I went Apple 3 months ago. It is so cute. It doesn't matter what you have to say, every time you open it, an Apple lights up and people think he must know something. He's got an Apple computer. I mean, you look at TED Talks, if there's an Apple, he's a great guy. If it's just an old little PC, it's not quite the same thing. And it functions very fast and it's very intuitive. But what do I do with the computer? Am I using it for any social welfare? My own imagination? Perhaps I go on Wikipedia much more than I would. I couldn't go to the library and read up things. It's just too much of a legwork, you know. But Wikipedia, even if there's information that's bad, doesn't matter. It's some information. But today when I went to look it up, it just closed up. Have you checked that? When you go on Wikipedia tonight, you'll see the W sign comes up and says, we are shut down tonight. Then off we go to look at electronics. This is an era I remember on Clayton Street. There was a shop called Borough Electronics. And then the electronic gadgets were so heavy, your shoulders became like that when you carried the camera. But then it got smaller, and then the G7 came smaller. And now that iPhone is far, far, far superior in sound and as good as anything that we have on the planet. And I actually use it. I do a lot. I'll tell you in a moment what I do a lot with. Then came CDs, the Sony Walkmans, and all that kind of stuff came along. And now I think we've reached the stage where it's hard to see a human being who hasn't got some white things plugged in their ears. Everyone's walking around like that. So we don't communicate. Nobody says good morning to each other. You sit in the plane, the guy's already plugged his ears. Means I don't want to talk to you, go away. I find that quite offensive actually. You can't smile at people because they've got this thing in their ear. Or the latest Homo sapiens, isn't this Homo sapien erectus, is someone with a head like that. Everyone's got a phone, everyone's talking on it. What do we talk about so much? What is there to say so much about? I don't understand. And perhaps I'm a very old-fashioned guy with a very modern gadgets. Next came the internet. And of course it was there, so if the Russians bombed America, the computers were all connected. And then it was democratized to all of us. And now on my iPhone, as soon as some message comes, it's ping, it goes. Along came WAP, along came Twitter, Skype, Facebook, YouTube, Wikipedia, and on it goes, you know. Now, on a very serious front, I'm quite happy that we are educating the general populace, because I think a democracy where people are not educated is crazy. It's happening in India. It's supposed to be a democracy, but there are so many illiterate people. How do they vote? And the joke is, and please look it up on the internet, in one state called Uttar Pradesh, UP, the chief minister is a lady and her sign is an elephant. And she's such a self-obsessed person that she's got 300 elephants, really big size ones, in Lucknow and so on. And the election commission said we need to cover them up. So 300 elephants have been covered with plastic. Now, is that sort of a publicity or is it a what? I mean, I think it's publicity, really. If you have elephants all looking like that. And they have bicycles, so can we ban bicycles? There's one party where the hand is the symbol. So are you going to put people in gloves or what? So there's all this kind of stuff going. And on the serious front, I'm delighted that the public is being informed. And on the slightly skeptical side, I think we haven't moved forwards at all. We're not better human beings for knowing so much. We are less wise, we are more knowledgeable. Thank you.